wanted to share with you one of the most profound concepts that I've been introduced to through the Bible. And this concept is that we have been reconciled to God. Now, on face value, it's like, what does that even mean? I don't know. To me, I had to dig a little bit deeper to understand how profound that was. So, something to know. To reconcile means to restore harmony between, bring into union with one another, bring on a level ground, essentially. And the Bible teaches that it's through Jesus Christ that we've been reconciled to God. And so, if you really think about this, though, is when things start to get a little bit interesting. Because understanding God and what God is, or who God is probably one of the more challenging questions perceptually when you're trying to understand God. Yet this idea that we can be reconciled or brought into harmony with God means a lot more if you can grasp some sense of the magnitude of God. So from a science perspective, God is the unmade maker. He is the ultimate creator. And so if you're in your house and you're saying I don't even understand how big God is. Yeah, because you're in your house, the confinement of your house. But if you step outside and you at nighttime, just look up at the solar system and then contemplate how deep the deepest part of the ocean is. And I don't know if you've seen deep sea creatures, but we literally have aliens here on Earth if you see pictures of deep sea creatures, right? If you think about more of the remote places in the world, like the African Sahara, how do creatures even exist out there? Humans would have such a hard time existing and can't exist in many environments on the earth. And so this is kind of interesting to think about, the fragility of humans with this paradox of the magnitude of the world and of our solar system. There's literally just giant asteroids hurling around. And fortunately, because of how our solar system is aligned, we're protected. I don't know if you've heard this, but apparently the gravitational force of Jupiter is so strong that it pulls a lot of asteroids towards it and away from Earth. You couldn't make this. As humans, it's difficult to perceptually place the perfection of the creation that we live within. It's such a trip to me. But anyways, these types of things start to really show the magnitude of God and the fragility of human life. And, when you look at how old the earth is, billions of years old, and we're hoping to live for 100 to 120 years, max. I mean, we are literally a breath of dust within the magnitude of our earth and of creation. Yet, the Bible teaches that this creator who made all of this actually wants a relationship with us. The Bible doesn't talk about praising the stars or even understanding the magnitude of God from a scientific or natural level. It's about understanding God from a relational level. Most of the ideas in the Bible are around God being love and pure unconditional love. And it's hard to comprehend that when we live in a human world. Many, if not most of us, have never experienced unconditional love. And so it's difficult to even perceptually place that when we're told that this is who God is. So now back to this idea that we've been reconciled to God. We've been brought back into harmony with God. It doesn't take a lot of effort to look around and recognize the evil that's in the world and the evil that humans can implement. And so this idea of reconciliation, like we're being brought back into harmony, starts to make a little bit more sense. Like humankind as a whole has greatly fallen away from any level of unconditional love. And that's easy to see in the world, right? Evil is easy to see in the world. So, okay, well then what does that mean? Like we've been reconciled, we've been brought back to harmony with God. Well, it's taught specifically through Jesus Christ that we're brought to that point. And okay, let's think about Jesus Christ's teachings. Well, it's like love others just as you love yourself, which I mentioned in my other videos. This discussion of altruism is debated in evolutionary psychology. Like, are humans even capable of doing things for others that don't benefit themselves? This is a debate within psychology, specifically evolutionary psychology. Some people will say no, there's no true, genuine altruism in humankind and humans. Yet the Bible is teaching this standard of that. And it's saying, you know, through the teachings of Jesus Christ, you can actually get to that point. And it's through that aim, through that goal, that we are reconciled with God. So that's kind of cool to think about. Like, whoa, I have the capacity as a human. I've been given the tools to hit that level of harmony and holiness with God. It's also taught in the Bible that God's plan for us is continuous sanctification, which is that we are constantly evolving to a holier version of ourselves. And a lot of people want to shy away from this idea, even within the Christian community. Like they're like, we're fallen, we'll never be in line with Christ, we'll never be in line with God. But I feel that it completely ignores biblical text that states, like, this is actually God's plan for you. Like, yes, right now we have our human nature, and that will likely always be a component to our existence that we will not let go of until our physical body dies. But we're not so far off from it as a lot of people communicate. You know, the Bible regularly says, like, if you're in Christ, like, the old is gone, the new is here. Like, can't you see that this is happening now, here and now? 2 Corinthians 5:17, you know, if anyone is in Christ, he's a new creation. The old has passed away, and see, the new has come. I mean, this is like happening experientially right now. And so, again, it's not so far off to consider that we are evolving into holier versions of ourselves and have this toolkit to get there through the Bible. We have this toolkit that we've been given to be reconciled with God and on the same level as God and brought back into harmony with God. And when I say on the same level as God, I mean heart to heart. Huge concept nowadays in New Age spirituality is manifestation, creation. Oh, I want to create whatever I want. You know, I want to implement my will. That's not what I mean by getting on the same level as God. I mean heart to heart. We can have this real deep, intimate relationship and connection with God. And that's pretty profound. Like I said, understanding who God is and God's character is really challenging for us as humans, because all we have around us is humans that have modeled different characteristics and human levels of love, human levels of trust. So to understand and human levels of faithfulness and consistency and loyalty. So to comprehend God's level of these things is almost kind of impossible, but we can see like glimpses of it through teachings of the Bible and through teachings of Jesus Christ. And I think that this is what Jesus's main message is when he says, follow me. It's less about this intellectual game and more about how we act and what we embody in our life. It's through that faith in Jesus Christ that we have some belief that what he did is possible. That's what faith in Jesus Christ means. It doesn't mean like, oh yeah, I believe Jesus existed and therefore now I'm going to heaven. It's much deeper than that. It's like we have to look at how Jesus lived. Why did he do the things that he did? And what is that embodiment of God in human form? How does that impact us as humans? What is that calling that we've been requested to rise to? Now, we have to keep in mind there are only like a handful of the population that is really chosen for this type of path. Most people will probably not jump to this moral standard. So this is where there's these ideas in the Bible where it's like, you're chosen, you're special, you're part of this group and elect few to be representatives of God and ambassadors of God, essentially. And it's because it's a high calling. It's not going to be like within our normal human capacity to rise to those standards. The bird trying to give you a message. It's not within our human capacity to rise to those standards. So there's only going to be so many people that even see that as being a possibility and see being worthwhile to rise to. So this calling is not for everybody. But if you're tuning into this, it's really heartwarming to know that there is a pathway to have this deep, harmonious relationship with something that is beyond the magnitude of our solar system and our world. We, as humans in science, are trying to perceive how big the universe and space is. We know more about space than we do about the deepest depths of the ocean. And the ocean is on our planet. We're still trying to navigate these things, right? So understanding the magnitude of God will always be this like constant evolving process for us externally with the exploration of God's creation and internally with understanding how we relate to a God of that magnitude. But whoa, it's kind of crazy to know that we can have that deep, intimate relationship with a God of that magnitude. And on top of it, he's not asking you to do certain things. All he wants is connection. He just wants your heart, your faith, your love, your attention, your praise. What is God's plan for you? What is God's will for you? To rejoice always, pray constantly, and give thanks in everything. That's from 1 Thessalonians. I don't remember the verse, but happy to find it for you if you're interested in reading more. That's literally what's defined as God's will for you. Rejoice always, pray constantly, and give thanks in everything. That's amazing to think about. Enjoy.